Stefani Prosecco, a Venetian sparkler with mountain air in its bubbles and a family name on each bottle. Dry, crisp, and crafted from Glera grapes kissed by the Dolomites. But does this artisanal fizz rise above the sea of supermarket sweetness? By the end of this pour, you will know how it scores across 5 Sip Me Maybe categories: grape, taste, history, price, and how it fights in its weight class. Welcome to Sip Me Maybe, the podcast about all things wine, where we swirl, sip, and spill the truth about what's in the glass. I'm Julia, and around here, we don't just drink wine. We take it from the grape to the glass and rate everything in between. From the vines and the vintages to the taste and the price tag, nothing gets a free pass. Every bottle earns its score. Before we pop the cork, just a quick disclaimer. I'm not a sommelier, just a wine lover with strong opinions and soft spot for, well, a good pour. This is a judgment-free zone, no snobbery, no side eye. I'll share what I'm tasting, and you're always welcome to share in the comments what lights up your palate. Let's take this bottle from story to sip. If you happen to be a Prosecco lover, then you'll understand. Not all bubbles are created equal. Today's bottle, the Stefani DOC Extra Dry. This isn't your mimosa at brunch Prosecco. This is crisp, clean, and rooted in serious tradition. The Stefani is a family-run house nested in the hills of Veneto, crafting elegant terroir-driven fizz since 1866. No shortcuts, no mass blending, just vineyard to glass integrity. It's not just Prosecco, it's Prosecco with a passport, pedigree, and purpose. The Stefani's story begins in 1866 in the hills of Refrontolo, a village tucked between Venice and Dolomites. 4 generations later, the family is still at the helm, led by Alessandro de Stefani, who blends ancestral wisdom with modern winemaking. Originally wood merchants, the Stefani family eventually planted vines on the sloping hillsides, realizing that this corner of Veneto, with its clay-rich soils and alpine breeze, was built for Glera. Over the years, they've resisted industrial shortcuts, focused on low-yield farming, and stayed fiercely independent. No conglomerates, no mass marketing, just family hands in the vineyards and philosophy rooted in balance, purity, and place. The Stefani's vineyards sit between the Piave River and Dolomites, giving the Prosecco a unique signature. It's not just Glera. It's Glera grown at elevation, kissed by mountain air and cooled by fresh winds. The soils here are clay with pockets of limestone, which helps retain freshness while offering subtle mineral lift. And unlike many Proseccos rush to the bottle, the Stefani takes its time. From hand-tended vines in Refrontolo to cellars, every step at the Stefani feels deliberate, and winemaking is no exception. The grapes are hand-harvested, a rarity in category where machine harvesting dominates. But the Stefani doesn't cut corners. They start with healthy ripe Glera picked by hand, preserving the integrity of the fruit from the very first touch. And fermentation? Yes, it's done via Charmant method, but with a twist. Instead of rushing the wine through the pressurized tanks for speed and volume, they slow things down. The base wine is kept on lees, those spent yeast cells, longer than usual. Why? Because lees contact adds texture, depth, and soft creamy mousse you don't usually expect from Prosecco. And then cold stabilization. This is where the wine is chilled to near freezing before bottling. causing tartness and unstable proteins to crystallize and fall out naturally. The result? A wine that's crystal clear, more stable in the bottle, and, importantly, preserves its aroma. No burnt-off florals, no dull orchard fruit, just fresh pear, acacia blossom, and that Glera zinc captured with precision. Prosecco isn't champagne's twin. Let's clear the sparkle fog. Champagne is fermented twice in the bottle, while Prosecco is fermented in a tank. It doesn't mean it's lesser, it just means it's built to be fresh, not to age. Think of it like opera versus jazz. Champagne builds drama over time, Prosecco wants to dance right now. And when it's done well, like the Stefani, it doesn't need a second act to steal the spotlight. Let's be honest, most Prosecco bottles barely tell you anything, but my friend here, the Stefani, this label doesn't sit pretty. It actually speaks. And if you know how to read it, you'll realize it's quietly saying, this isn't your basic bubbly. So let's decode it line by line. Actually, there's a lot. DOC, it's Italy's official guarantee that the wine comes from a protected region and follows strict production standards. The Prosecco DOC zone stretches across 9 provinces in Veneto and Friuli Venezia Giulia. But this bottle comes from Refrontolo, a hillside village just outside the prestigious Conglegiano Valdobbiadene, DOCG. My friend here may wear DOC label, but it's actually standing on DOCG shoulders. The clay limestone soils and higher elevation give this wine more tension, minerality, and elegance that you'd expect from a DOC Prosecco. Produced and bottled by Da Stefani, Refrontolo, Italy. That lines tell you that this is a state-grown wine, no bulk juice, no outside grapes. Everything in the bottle, from vine to cork, was grown, passed, fermented, and bottled under the same family roof. In short, not just a wine, a fingerprint. Unlike most Proseccos blended across harvests, the Stefani lists a vintage. Actually, minus 2022. That means that all the grapes came from a single season. It's a bold move because here's no hiding behind the blend. You're tasting the weather that year, the vineyard conditions, the winemaker's real-time conditions and decisions. It's not just wine, it's a time capsule. Extra dry. Let's clear that up. The front of the label says extra dry, and yes, that confuses everyone because extra dry actually means slightly sweeter than brut. It's typically falling between 12 to 17 grams of sugar per liter. Now flip the bottle and you might see, well, it's actually here too, 0.15 printed. That's shortened for 0.15 kilograms per hectoliter, which converts to 15 grams per liter of residual sugar. So that checks out. This wine is classically extra dry, bright, crisp, but with just enough softness to round out the acidity and make it oh so drinkable. Alcohol content around 11%, actually 11.5, which makes it light, easy, and refreshingly sessionable. Lower alcohol, more lift, less burn, more flavor, less fatigue. Now let's talk cold stabilization. Right after pressing, the fresh grape juice called must is quickly chilled to 0 Celsius. Why? To preserve aromatics, to keep fermentation from starting too soon, and to help solids naturally settle before fermentation begins. Think of it like hitting pause. at the perfect moment. So nothing gets rushed and nothing, especially the flavor, is lost. So why does this all matter? Because what you're drinking isn't mass-produced fizz. It's hand-harvested, slow-crafted, and quietly expressive. Let's recap what this label actually reveals. Estate-grown Glera from hillside vineyards in Refrontolo. Vintage dated, not blended across years. Extra dry in style with 15 grams per liter of residual sugar, cold stabilized for clarity and freshness, and made entirely under one family name. And that little blue paper right here, that's Italy's official quality seal, like passport stamp for wine. It guarantees this bottle is legit DOC Prosecco, certified by the Italian government and traceable back to the hills it came from, sparkling with a purpose and, well, paperwork. So next time you're holding this bottle, look at it a little closer. It's not just a barcode or pretty front. It's a summary of place, practice, and philosophy. This wine doesn't shout, it actually whispers. So let's talk grape composition. It's 100% Glera. The star of this bottle, an ancient white grape native to northern Italy. It's known for producing light aromatic wines with floral notes, stone fruit, and signature crisp. Here's why the Stefani's Glera stands out. Low yields, more concentration, no blending with other grapes. Organically farmed, no herbicides or pesticides. Picked early for acidity, but allowed to ripen for flavor. This isn't just Glera, it's Glera raised with intention. Fun fact, until 2009, the Glera grape was actually called Prosecco. But Italy changed the name to protect the region and turned Prosecco into a geographic identity, not just a grape variety. My friend, you've waited long enough. Tasting profile. The Stefani Prosecco brewed on the nose. It's fresh pear, white peach, and brush of wildflowers. There's a subtle note of crushed mint or sage that hints at the mountain breeze behind these bubbles. On the palate, it's dry and crisp, but never sharp. Green apple, lemon zest, and a whisper of almond. The mousse is delicate, not aggressive, and the acidity carries everything through like a breeze through a linen. Pair it with grilled prawns, a caper salad, or even salted chips. It doesn't need luxury to feel elegant. Let's talk price versus quality. Usually found between $18 and $22 per bottle, the Stefani delivers incredible finesse for the price. This is not your bulk bottled party fizz. It's intentional Prosecco made with care. At this price point, most Proseccos lean sweet or flat. The Stefani keeps it dry, lifted, and structured. You get family tradition, hand-harvested fruit, and small batch precision for less than the cost of a cocktail in Venice. In other words, it's a steal and a style statement. Let's see how my friend here fights in its weight category. Compared to big-name DOC Proseccos like La Marca, Veneto, or Ruffini, the Stefani stands apart. Where others chase fruit-forward simplicity, this one whispers detail. It's the minimalist in a room full of sequin. It doesn't sparkle louder, it sparkles smarter. And up against low-end champagnes or supermarket sparkling wines, the Stefani might not wear the crown, but it wins on clarity, focus, and, well, value. In a world full of copy-paste Prosecco, this one feels like handwritten. So, the final sip score. I'm giving the Stefani Prosecco a bright mineral-kissed 90 on a sip score. It's not champagne, it doesn't try to be. It's Prosecco with intention, attitude, and with a little family pride in every pour. Well, let's cork this bottle before the bubbles drift off. I'm Julia, and this was Sip Me Maybe, the podcast where every glass has a story and no sip goes unnoticed. Sip wisely, and I'll see you the next pour.